Wow, a legendary frontman, Ozzy Osbourne, pioneering heavy metal singer and Black Sabbath frontman, dies at 76. Word of Osbourne's death came weeks after he reunited with his original Black Sabbath bandmates. Ozzy Osbourne, the wailing Black Sabbath singer turned solo act who took the crazy train from a bleak childhood in working-class Birmingham, England, to heavy metal stardom, has died. He was 76. His family announced the rock legend's passing in a statement. It is with more sadness than mere words can convey that we have to report that our beloved Ozzy Osbourne has passed away this morning. He was with his family and surrounded by love. We ask everyone to respect our family privacy at this time. Word of Osbourne's demise came more than 2 weeks after the ailing frontman reunited with his original Black Sabbath bandmates Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward for a triumphant final show on July 5th. Shortly after Osbourne's death was announced, a 2-word tribute appeared on the official Facebook page of Black Sabbath, Ozzy Forever. Black Sabbath's final show was witnessed by 45,000 fans packing Birmingham's Villa Park soccer stadium, and by 5.8 million more metalheads around the world who watched online. "You've got no idea how I feel," Osbourne said, sitting on a leather throne because he could no longer stand, his mascara smeared by tears. "Thank you from the bottom of my heart." Osbourne's wife, TV personality Sharon Osbourne, revealed in February that Ozzy was unable to walk because of Parkinson's disease, but that the diagnosis doesn't affect his voice. Dubbed the Prince of Darkness, Osbourne managed to muscle through 4 of Sabbath's most iconic number, War Pigs, NIB, Iron Man, and perhaps the band's biggest hit, Paranoid. Bands that are direct musical descendants of Black Sabbath like Metallica, Slayer, and Alice in Chains, as well as performers like Ronnie Wood of the Rolling Stones, completed the metal marathon by cranking out covers from Black Sabbath's catalog or Osbourne's solo career. It was no secret that Osbourne had been sick for some time. Osbourne opened up about his battles with Parkinson's disease and repeated spinal surgeries in a November 2023 interview with Rolling Stone magazine. "I'm taking it one day at a time, and if I can perform again, I will," the then 74-year-old singer said. Osbourne acknowledged that the epic amount of drugs and alcohol he ingested early on in his career had taken a toll on his health. And he credited his wife with repeatedly saving his arse. "I do count my lucky stars," Osbourne told the magazine. "I don't know why I'm still here, and I do sometimes think I'm on borrowed time. I said to Sharon the other day, what a great effing life we've had, and what a great effing experience." John Michael Osbourne was born December 3, 1948, in Birmingham, the 4th of 6 children of a poor family. There was little to indicate that he would amount to anything, much less become an idol to millions. Osbourne, who struggled with dyslexia, dropped out of school at 15 to work a series of menial factory jobs, including toiling in a slaughterhouse and testing car horns. He also served a brief stint in prison for burglary. Osbourne wasn't exactly planning to rock the world when he started singing at local clubs. In 1968, he joined a band in need of a frontman called the Polka Tulk Blues Band, which was then comprised of Iommi, Butler, and Ward. They changed their name to Earth, but as their sound turned heavier and their lyrics delved into horror and the occult, they opted for yet another name change. Inspired by the title of a Boris Karloff film, Black Sabbath, Black Sabbath wasn't a band that was created by some big mogul guy. Osbourne told the BBC in 2017, "It was 4 guys who went, let's have a go. We had a dream and it came true beyond our wildest expectations. I remember playing in the Crown Pub in Birmingham and thinking, this will be good for a couple of years, drink a few beers and have a jam." The ride lasted considerably longer. Their 1970 self-titled debut album hit the top 10 in the UK and number 23 on the US charts. A year later, their second album, Paranoid, topped the charts in the UK and reached number 12 across the pond. Still, the critics were not kind at first. Black Sabbath was dismissed by some as satanic claptrap and worse. The worst of the counterculture on a plastic platter, Robert Christgau, the dean of American rock critics, wrote. But as the 1960s gave way to the 1970s, a new generation of fans embraced Black Sabbath's dark lyrics and sludgy sound, a new style of rock music that would become known as heavy metal. The mark of a great rock band is that X factor that sets them apart from other bands. Bruce Barber, a former radio jock who teaches at the University of New Haven. Ozzy had that X factor, and for many young people, Black Sabbath's music, which emerged in the late 1960s and early 1970s as the Vietnam War was raging, spoke to the issues of that time. Mark Tavern, a music professor at the University of New Haven, said Osbourne's distinctive voice had a lot to do with Black Sabbath's success. His throaty delivery, reminiscent of old-time blues shouters, brings an unkempt directness to the genre, a literal devil-may-care approach to singing that allowed blues-based rock to morph into metal, Tavern said. At the same time, his raw, shrieking wail fit with the band's guitar-driven approach and meshed with the dark sounds and emotions that fans were looking to connect with. Technically speaking, he was a natural tenor with a good range and a powerful, focused voice, Catherine Dacey, a professor at the Berklee College of Music, said before Osbourne's death was announced. That description doesn't really do justice to his instrument or artistry, though, as he had one of those rare voices that's immediately recognizable. Meanwhile, Osbourne embraced the sex, drugs, and rock and roll lifestyle with a gusto that drew comparisons to another world-class partier, Rolling Stones guitarist Keith Richards, and alarmed his bandmates. Osbourne's uncanny ability to consume prodigious amounts of cocaine and liquor, and not die, would later lead scientists in 2011 to conclude that he was a genetic mutant whose body possessed a unique ability to absorb recreational drugs. I've always said that at the end of the world, there will be roaches. Ozzy and Keith Richards, Sharon Osbourne said at the time. But as Iommi admitted to The Guardian years later, Osbourne was out of control during his last years with Black Sabbath. After a string of disappointing albums, Osbourne was fired in 1979 and replaced by Ronnie James Dio. Getting canned, however, didn't end Osbourne's career. Enter Sharon Levy, the daughter of Don Arden, the man who managed Black Sabbath. Arden had pushed for Osbourne to be fired, but Sharon made rescuing Osbourne her mission, becoming his manager, lover, and eventually his wife. Under her guidance, Osbourne released a 1980 solo debut, Blizzard of Oz, which went multi-platinum and produced the hit song Crazy Train. He followed up a year later with another huge hit, Diary of a Madman, backed by a talented band of musicians, including a guitar wunderkind named Randy Rhoads. During the tour for the album, Rhoads and two other members of the entourage died in a plane crash after the pilot reportedly tried to buzz the bus on which Osbourne was sleeping. Sharon Osbourne also helped her husband get Ozfest off the ground, a wildly popular music festival that toured from 1996 to 2018, often headlined by Osbourne, that featured other established and fledgling heavy metal and hard rock acts. Despite all his success, Osbourne, in the eyes of many in the public, continued to be the madman who outraged animal rights groups in 1982 by biting the head off a live bat during a concert in Des Moines, Iowa. "I thought it was a rubber bat," Osbourne said at the time. "I picked it up, put it in my mouth, crunched down, bit into it, being the clown that I am." People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals issued a statement Tuesday calling Osbourne a legend and a provocateur, who also used his fame to campaign against declawing cats. Ozzy will be missed by animal advocates the world over, PETA Senior Vice President Lisa Lang said. Osbourne also infuriated the state of Texas in 1982 by urinating on the Alamo, a stunt that got him arrested and for which he later apologized. The Alamo, in an official statement on its Facebook page, acknowledged the deeply disrespectful incident, but said Osbourne had made amends. Today, we acknowledge Ozzy Osbourne's journey from regret to reconciliation at the historic site, and we extend our condolences to his family, friends, and fans around the world, the statement said. There also was the time Osbourne reportedly snorted live ants instead of cocaine, on a whim in a bizarre contest with his band's opening act, Motley Crue. "We were a wild young band, and he kind of took us under his wing," Crue's Nikki Sixx told the New York Post. "We thought we could compete with that, but you can't with Ozzy. He won." By the end of the 90s, Osbourne's popularity was fading. So in 2002, Sharon Osbourne rebooted her husband's career yet again, on the cable TV channel that had helped him become a solo star. The Osbournes, the MTV reality show that followed the aging rocker and his family's unlikely domesticity, won him a new audience. The show introduced him to a whole other group of people who had heard of him and vaguely knew his music, but really got to know him through that show, said Robert Thompson, the director of the Blyer Center for Television and Popular Culture at Syracuse University. It also made Osbourne an unlikely TV star and led to invitations to meet the likes of President George W. Bush and perform at Queen Elizabeth II's Jubilee in 2002. He, of course, played Paranoid. Barber said he interviewed the Osbournes around that time. He said he arrived at what was then called the Parker Meridien Hotel in Manhattan, expecting to find them in a trashed room. Instead, there he was with Sharon, dressed in matching Parker Meridien bathrobes, Barber said. They were kind and polite, and I was struck by the juxtaposition between the Prince of Darkness Ozzy that we all heard about and the Ozzy sipping tea with Sharon. Osbourne continued to rock and roll, even reuniting with the original Black Sabbath lineup, minus Ward, for several lucrative tours and the band's only #1 album in the U.S., 13, which was released in 2013. 12 years later came word that Osbourne, Iommi, Butler, and Ward were reuniting for the first time in 20 years for a final concert this month. The show sold out almost immediately after the box office opened. By then, Osbourne had garnered what he had been denied when he first started out: respect from music critics and other naysayers who underestimated him and Black Sabbath. In his earlier days, he was never going to be considered one of the great vocalists of all time, but his voice certainly fit the music he made, heavy metal historian Eddie Trunk said. He had his moments as a singer, but his biggest legacy is as a tremendous character, a tremendous entertainer, and a very likable and sellable figure. Osbourne is survived by his wife Sharon and 6 children, Jessica, Lewis and Elliot from his first marriage to Thelma Riley, and Amy, Kelly, and Jack from his second marriage. He also leaves behind quite the legend, on stage and off. In 2002, Osbourne told Rolling Stone magazine that he would like his My Epitaph to read, "Just Ozzy Osbourne, born 1948, died so-and-so. I've done a lot for a simple working-class guy," Osbourne said. "I made a lot of people smile. I've also made a lot of people go, who the fuck does this guy think he is? I guarantee that if I was to die tonight, tomorrow it would be Ozzy Osbourne, the man who bit the head off a bat, died in his hotel room. I know that's coming."